So we're off to a great start, and now I have the opportunity to deliver my annual report as the President of the National Academy of Medicine. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the past presidents of the National Academy of Medicine who are present. Sam Thier, Ken Shine, both are present. Thank you very much for your leadership, and it's a great honor for me to succeed you. So, let me begin my address to all of you with a huge congratulations to Greg Semenza and William Kaelin, two NAM members who are recipients of the 2019 Nobel Prize in Medicine or Physiology. Their seminal work on how cells sense and react to oxygen significantly impacts the understanding and treatment of medical conditions such as anemia, cancer, myocardial ischemia, stroke, and more. So please join me in congratulating both of them. Indeed, this is a very exciting time as we enter our 50th year of service to the nation. First, as the Institute of Medicine, and now for the past 4 years as the National Academy of Medicine. We have amazed a great foundation of achievement on which to build in the years ahead. Because of our work together, countless people everywhere are living longer and healthier lives. We live in an age of incredible progress in science and technology. Thanks to medical advances, many cancers that were once death sentences have become manageable or even curable. Developments in genomics are leading to new diagnostics and therapies that we could barely imagine a generation ago. Big data and artificial intelligence are rapidly reshaping how we live and work. We also live in a very challenging time. We're witnessing profound changes in health medicine, increasing social challenges and upheaval, and with globalization, increased interconnectedness is giving rise to significant shifts in the global disease burden. So while we've made huge gains in understanding, preventing, and treating many diseases, health inequity persists today, nationally and globally. Furthermore, new advances in technology on the horizon offer great promise for improving healthcare, but they also raise complex ethical, societal issues, and in fact, could even exacerbate inequities if they aren't introduced thoughtfully and carefully. Now, all this is happening during a time when science is being actively and purposely maligned by some and discarded or ignored by others. As a result, the public is left confused and unsure of whom to trust. These trends underscore how important our work at the NAM will be in the coming years, both here in the US and globally. But we can't rely on business as usual. The NAM must itself be resilient and adaptive in this fast-moving global environment. Last year, I began my presidential address with a quote shown on the screen. The tragedy of life is often not in our failure, but rather in our complacency. Not in our doing too much, but rather in our doing too little. Not in our living above our ability, but rather in living below our capacities. That quote from Benjamin Mays, often called the father of modern civil rights movement and mentor to Martin Luther King Jr., bears repeating. It is a call to action for all of us. As the premier health academy of the nation and the world, the NAM must be a leader. We cannot afford to be complacent. Fortunately, 2 years ago, with the wisdom and guidance of you, our members, and many others, the NAM created a multi-year strategic plan that serves as a long-term roadmap to tackle the most pressing challenges and health and medicine for years to come. The strategic plan enables NAM to be proactive as a leader to address critical issues today and in the future. The plan emphasized 4 major areas: ensuring that science continues to serve as the foundation of our academy, charting the course for a future of health and medicine in the US and globally, addressing the medical societal implications of emerging science and technology, and diversifying and activating our members and cultivating future health leaders. First, science and evidence have been the foundation of our academy since its inception nearly 50 years ago, and their fundamental importance serve as key tenets that underlie all that we do. As trusted advisors to a nation on issues of health and medicine, our academy must never waver in our long-standing commitment to apply scientific rigor and objective evidence to generate solutions to complex human health challenges. Science is advancing more rapid than ever, and the NAM needs to be prepared to embrace new science. The future of health and medicine lies in research that transcends disciplines and coalesces around multiple lines of evidence to advance medical science and health. This is why we must practice convergence science, which was described in a 2016 report from MIT as the future of health, that would integrate expertise from life science with physical, mathematical, and computation sciences, as well as engineering. At the academies, we strongly support this concept, but I believe the current definition in convergent science is too narrow. As I noted in a 2018 paper in Lancet, and I quote, "To improve population health outcomes, we have to expand this definition of convergence to include social, behavioral, economic, and political sciences, and the law, to name a few," end of quote. So along with NAS, NAE, the NAM has made a concerted effort to advance convergent science across the institution. Together, we form an advisory committee and convene a major workshop to help enhance this work. Indeed, NAM's own work can be further amplified and strengthened through strong relationship with our fellow academies and other scientific partners. And of course, we also need to do a better job of supporting and capitalizing on basic discovery sciences. And to that end, we formed a basic translational science advisory committee chaired by Keith Yamamoto, which is charged with ways to identify ways to enhance discovery science, speed the translation of basic science into human application, and the creation of a national innovation system. An important responsibility of NAM is to chart the course for the future of health and medicine. The NAM must examine major issues related to health and healthcare, including coverage, access to quality care, and health equity for all. We must be prepared to take on priority topics such as healthcare financing, cost of care, and value-based care. And NAM must take a leadership role to address health inequities, social determinants of health, and population health. You know, these issues are starkly reflected in some recent alarming trends in our nation: a decline in life expectancy, high rates of maternal mortality, and an increase in so-called deaths of despair from suicides or drug overdoses. We at the NAM feel strongly, so strongly about the importance of health equity, underlying all of our work, such as we added it in 2017 to our mission statement, as you can see in this slide. We've advanced our work in the area of equity through our Culture of Health program, a multi-year effort supported by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation to identify strategies to create and sustain conditions that support equitable good health for all Americans. As you can see in this slide, we released 4 consensus studies in collaboration with the divisions in health and medicine and behavioral and social sciences. We have fostered cross-sector, multidisciplinary dialogue and have sparked collaboration and action among diverse stakeholders to promote health in local communities. Going forward, we'll strive to advance an actionable health equity agenda as a central national priority. We aim to structurally embed health equity into everything we do at the National Academy of Medicine and across the academies. A big part of advancing equitable good health is tackling the cost of healthcare and working towards a value-based healthcare system. In the middle of the slide, you see the NAM's Leadership Consortium for Value Science-Driven Healthcare System, chaired by Mark McClellan, provides a trusted venue for national leaders in health and healthcare to work cooperatively to improve nations' health. The consortium developed the concept of a learning health system to deliver effective, innovative care that improves efficiency, reduces waste, and provides value to our patients. Now, when the 2020 election fast approaching, the NAM is also redoubling our efforts to inform national and state policymakers about the critical issues facing U.S. health and medicine. To do so, we're building upon our 2016 policy initiative, which you can see on the right side, on vital directions for health and healthcare. This was chaired by myself and Mark McClellan, which produced 19 priority papers. It was instrumental in informing Congress and the presidential administration during the 2017 national debate about healthcare reform and repeal of the ACA. But next year, we launch Vital Directions 2.0, which will update the important work that we did in 2016, examine the troubling trends that have emerged since that time, and identify important areas for policy action for the newly reelected or re-elected U.S. administration in 2020. Turning to our global reach, we're collaborating with our colleagues across the academies to identify and tackle important issues of global concern that will impact health now and in the future. These include emerging infectious disease outbreaks, universal health coverage, climate change, migrant and refugee health, aging, among others. Now, climate change is one of the biggest threats of our lifetimes. Unfortunately, climate change science is being largely ignored in U.S. policies. In response, I joined my fellow presidents in June 2019 to issue a statement, a joint statement, strongly affirming the scientific evidence behind climate change. NAM has identified climate change and health as a high priority. Yesterday, an exploratory interest group focused on climate change and health, organized by Charlie Halpern and Dick Jackson, met for the first time to examine ways the NAM members can get more involved. Climate change was also identified as a campaign strategic initiative. And in December, in collaboration with the Climate Communication Initiative at the National Academies and sponsored by Burroughs Wellcome and the NAM, will convene a preliminary meeting of experts to review the topic of climate change and health. This will be followed by a more formal NAM planning process to identify emerging research gaps and needs, catalyze action, and chart the next steps. The findings will be used to inform the development of a new initiative at NAM focused on developing solutions and actively communicating these areas of great concern to the health community and the broader public. Our nation and the world also face another significant challenge in the coming years, a rapidly aging population in an environment that is unprepared. Today, 8.5% of the world population are aged 65 and over, but by 2050, this is projected to more than double, and the population of 80 and older is expected to more than triple. These demographic shifts have been described as a silver tsunami, I never thought myself describes tsunami. But that being said, they do pose countless economic, social, political, and healthcare challenges in our global society. Having recognized that aging population is a defining challenge of the 21st century, the NAM has established the Healthy Longevity Global Grand Challenge as our inaugural Grand Challenge. This will be a multi-year international effort directed at improving the health, productivity, and quality of life for the world's aging population. The initiative will have two components, as you can see in this slide. The roadmap for healthy longevity will involve an international commission chaired by Linda Fried and John Wong from Singapore, which will produce an evidence-based report with recommendations for societies worldwide to foster healthy longevity. The Healthy Longevity Global Competition, chaired by Tachi Yamada and Bob Horvitz, is a multi-year, multi-million international competition that will accelerate breakthroughs in health longevity in a series of awards and prizes. The competition is open to innovators of any background, including those in science, medicine, engineering, technology, and public policy. We have raised over $30 million, and nearly 50 countries and regions have joined this global movement. I'm pleased to say that today, the New England Journal of Medicine has published a viewpoint on our grand challenge, co-authored by Sharon Inouye, Jack Rowe, Tachi Yamada, Liz Finkelman, and myself. In fact, we will formally launch the global competition following today's meeting at 6 p.m. in the Great Hall. I hope you will really stay for reception and celebrate with us on this very important issue. Now, next I'd like to address the medical societal implications of emerging science and technology. As you all know, scientific and technical breakthroughs are transforming health and medicine as we know it. And I have no doubt that these developments will lead to tremendous progress for the care and treatment of patients here, US, and around the world. But these breakthroughs also carry many risks, have many societal implications, including the impact on healthcare costs, the potential to aggravate inequities, and potential negative effects on social norms and ethics. Two recent very important examples of scientific development are the human genome editing and artificial intelligence. The NAM have been at the forefront of addressing both these issues. Along with NAS, we initiated an important ongoing global discussion about the future of genome editing technologies and their responsible use. You recall that we had two international summits, one in 2015 and one in 2018. And we also issued a 2017 National Academies Report co-chaired by Otto Cherrow and Richard Hines. But with the shocking development of twins born as a result of embryo editing in China, we feel there's even a greater urgency to clarify the condition and achieve international consensus around acceptable use of human germline genome editing technology. So with the participation of 27 science and medical academies around the world, the NAM, the NAS, and the Royal Society of UK have convened an international commission. This commission is chaired by Kay Davies and Rick Lifton. The commission, which includes representatives from 10 nations, is tasked with developing an internationally agreed-upon framework for scientists, clinicians, and regulatory authorities to consider when assessing potential clinical applications of human germline genome editing. That is, if society concludes that this application is acceptable. The report is due out next spring, and we'll be working closely and coordinating our work with the WHO Expert Advisory Panel, which in fact is co-chaired by our own Foreign Secretary, Peggy Hamburg. AI and machine learning are new technologies that have potential to revolutionize health and medicine. The national academies as a whole are leading in this area too. We initiate several activities to explore and shape how AI technologies are developed so they can be utilized for improving populations' health and well-being while mitigating unintended consequences such as exacerbated inequities in health when using bias data, racial and gender bias data. You're going to hear more about these issues during today's scientific program. So while these technologies have incredible possibilities, as I said, they do raise many issues that require further considerations across multiple domains: ethics, law, equity, workforce, biosecurity, national economic competitiveness, and more. Given that most emerging technologies across multiple sectors, it is imperative that impact be considered together. There's a need for a multi-sectoral governance framework to guide assessment of societal implications, governance and policy of these new technologies. So at the President's Forum today, we plan to examine this need and discuss the creation of a new NAM committee on emerging science, technology, innovation in health and medicine to focus on these issues. So please join us at the end of the day. And finally, I want to talk about the importance of diversifying, activating NAM members, and cultivating future leaders. For all of the important work that NAM is doing now and in the future, rely on our greatest source of strength, our members. You are essential to all the work that we do here at the NAM and across the academies. Our work is bringing a diverse group of stakeholders to the table to address some of the most complex and nuanced issues of the day. Therefore, it's critically important that our membership reflects the diversity of a society at large. With this in mind, we've established a permanent diversity committee at the NAM, which is continuing to develop policies and strategies to ensure that we nominate, elect outstanding members from a wide variety of specialties and regions who are diverse in terms of gender, race, and ethnicity. Our past and continuing efforts are making an impact. This year, in 2019, we elected 100 members, the largest class ever in NAM or IAM's history. Women make up 44% of the class. A quarter of our elected members are from underrepresented ethnic and racial groups, and 22% are under age 50. I do think we deserve a round of applause, don't you think? And of course, we need to do more. And I know that all of you and membership committee is working actively to continue this effort in increasing diversity. Another activity that involves significant member engagement is the new NAM Code of Conduct and policy that was developed and ratified last year. This new Code of Conduct underscores the expectation, importance of professionalism and integrity among our members. Now, our council and staff are now planning a new membership election task force to consider improvements and possibly modernization of the membership election process. In fact, this was discussed yesterday with membership at the business meeting with great, if not unanimous, support. So moving forward, we will be putting together a task force to evaluate this complex issue, and we certainly will be looking for volunteers. We're also working hard to identify, engage, cultivate next generation of health leaders through our Emerging Leaders in Health and Medicine program. Launched 3 years ago, this program designed to facilitate opportunities for mentorship, collaborations, innovation between exceptional early and mid-career professionals and thought leaders. But the relation between thought leaders, especially NAM members, and the emerging leaders is what we're seeking to establish. The program has two components: the Emerging Leaders Scholars and the Emerging Leaders Forum. Currently, we have 30 diverse emerging leaders scholars that you met this morning. And while continuing to work at their primary institution, the scholars attend meetings with NAM leadership, like they are today, here today, and engage in academy's activities and participate in the mentoring program with NAM members. The scholars also plan to design the Emerging Leaders Forum. This past July, the inaugural forum brought together 70 emerging leaders and over 30 NAM members to examine some of the most pressing challenges, encourage collaboration and network, and seek advice about their career pathways. Very successful meeting, and the next event is planned for spring of 2020. Finally, as an indication of the caliber of these emerging leaders, I'm pleased to announce that 3 of the initial cohort were elected to NA membership this year as a part of Class 2019, and I'd like to congratulate them. Having come a long way in a few short years since we became the National Academy of Medicine, we have learned to collaborate and to be bold and flexible, to communicate effectively with stakeholders and the public, and to actively engage our members to shape our future. So I'd like to go over 4 guiding principles on our work. First, the importance of leadership and collaboration across the academies. As you know, the reorganization of IOM to NAM was not simply a name change, but in fact a creation of a new organization for which we had to establish bylaws and policies, as well as developing new financial and operating structures. But now that we are the NAM, we are positioned to provide leadership across the academies on issues related to health and medicine. We understand that we are stronger when we join forces with our fellow academies of sciences and engineering and across the divisions of NRC to develop and amplify activities that impact health. We strive to be transparent and collaborative with the divisions, especially our colleague, the Health and Medicine Division, to really avoid the perception of competition, but to increase greater collegiality. At the leadership level, I've been working closely with NAS President Marshall McNutt and NAE President John Anderson to oversee the governance and operation of the entire academies. As presidents, we are committed to successful implementation of NRC transformation, which was undertaken in response to an independent review of our products and services. The goal of the transformation is to be more efficient and effective so that we can be more timely and relevant in a rapidly changing environment. As another important step, I have just been tasked by the NRC Governing Board and my co-presidents with leading a strategic planning process for the NRC, which we all believe to be vital to guide its future. Next, I'd like to talk about the second guiding principle. The NAM has responsible lead on critical issues of health and medicine, and to that end, it's important as ever for us to be bold, proactive, flexible, and innovative in our programmatic approaches, while maintaining the high standards of independence and rigor. Over the last 5 years, I've seen countless examples of our work's impact, especially when we're bold enough to take on challenging topics that others are unwilling or unable to tackle. 2 major examples of innovative program models initiated by NAM are the Action Collaborative and the International Commission. Through this new Action Collaborative model, we use our convening power to bring stakeholders together to advance progress across priority areas through collaboration, coordination, communication, and collective action. For example, the NAM's taking leadership on the very real problem of clinician burnout. You just recognize the team that's working on this, because it is well recognized that no single entity can solve this problem. Therefore, our Action Collaborative on clinician well-being and resilience is a national network of more than 200 organizations committed to reversing this alarming trend and advancing evidence-based multidisciplinary solutions. Similarly, we created Action Collaborative on countering the nation's devastating opioid epidemic. More than 100 organizations joined this effort, a one-of-a-kind public-private partnership comprised of government, communities, health system providers, payers, and more, all committed to advancing effective solutions. That includes changes to our education, developing prescription guidelines, and improving prevention, treatment, and recovery activities. As a matter of fact, our Action Collaborative model has been so successful that now all 3 academies are adopting this and together launch an Action Collaborative to combat sexual harassment in academic science, engineering, and medicine. 60 university and research institutions have committed to sharing best practices and policies to stop sexual harassment. To tackle global challenges that demand international collaboration rather than what appears to be a US-centric approach, the NAMs designed a model whereby studies conducted by an international commission, with NAM serving as secretariat. This commission follows all the rigorous procedures and meets the same high-quality standards expected of every National Academy's product. This model, as you see, was first piloted in our 2016 report on building a global health risk framework in response to the West Africa Ebola virus crisis. And we're now currently using this model, as you heard, on the International Commission across the Academy of NAS and NAM on the clinical use of heritable human genome editing, and of course, now also, as you just heard, on the global roadmap for healthy longevity. So very exciting. Now I want to talk about the importance of communicating and speaking up for science and building relationship. The NAM and National Academies must strengthen and modernize our communications strategy, capacity, and effectiveness in order to communicate in a clear and compelling way to our members, to Congress, US administration, and the public. As president of this prestigious academy, I'm using my voice to speak up for all of you about controversial issues and counter misinformation in a neutral and nonpartisan fashion, particularly when NAM or academies have a broad evidence base to draw upon. It's true that the NAM should not engage in political discourse or advocate for a particular political point of view. But as preeminent advisors to the nation on matters of health and medicine, we do have a responsibility to share and defend scientific evidence for contentious issues. For example, we have spoken on vaccine safety, and our 3 academies joined together to launch a communications campaign. More recently, we issued a statement to support the cumulative scientific evidence for climate change. Both of these efforts are tied to a new public outreach platform that we created through a pilot program with Google called Based on Science. Last year, we also issued a statement asking the federal government to immediately halt its policy of separating migrant children from their families at the border, and detail evidence from many of National Academy's report and how harmful family separation are to health development of children. And in response to many tragic mass shootings in the United States, I worked with Alan Leshner and Mark Rosenberg to write editorials in support of federally funded research. And I'm proud to say that for the first time in many years, not only credit to us, but to many others, the House has passed a bill that proposed designating $50 million for gun violence research, although the Senate has yet to take action. It's a good start. Engendering trust in science also requires an all-out effort to develop and safeguard the integrity of scientific work, as well as more effective ways of communicating with the public. If researchers want public trust, we have to earn it. To that end, the National Academies as a whole have developed a communication strategy to improve public trust in science. Recently, we issued a number of studies on how to improve integrity in science and address issues such as reproducibility and replicability. We are committed to doing a better job to communicate science more effectively to the public going forward. And this slide shows you a sampling of the comprehensive efforts at National Academies to strengthen its communication science and medicine to the public. Now, you all know that we're making an effort to reach an even broader public audience, and National Academy has been experimenting with more accessible and lay-friendly social media approach. And that's been tricky, because while this has resulted in great public engagement, we've also experienced a few hiccups that some of you know recently. We're learning from these experiences, and we'll work to get it right and to gain the trust of the public. And finally, I would like to talk about the importance of engaging with you, members, to shape the future of the NAM. By the way, this is Waldo. Can you find yourself? This is finding Waldo up here. As a leader of a member-driven organization, I'm constantly reminded how important it is to engage all of you, our members, in all of the work that we do to shape the future of the organization. Recently, our members have led development of the strategic plan, the campaign themes, the code of conduct, and many others. But going forward, I would like your input on the modernization of the membership election process, the 50th anniversary, the NAM campaign, and many more areas. I can never say enough how grateful I am for your involvement and support of the NAM. Without you, we won't have achieved all that we have. And without you, we won't have such a strong strategy for the future. Throughout the next year, we'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the founding of Institute of Medicine in 1970. I want to share with you the tagline we've chosen for this important milestone. You can see in this slide, celebrating a legacy of impact and forging a healthier future. Indeed, our anniversary presents an important opportunity to communicate about the critical role and unique influence of the IOM, NAM, and national academies to as broad an audience as possible. Our 50th anniversary will be a focal point to increase philanthropic support of the NAM and the important work that we do. So we've undertaken a major campaign to raise $100 million over the next 7 years, and we're now in the silent phase, but we must capitalize on the 5th anniversary. The goal of $100 million is an ambitious goal for the Academy, to be sure, but I think it's entirely within the realm of the possible. And it's necessary if we want to continue our strong leadership in health and medicine. Our anniversary celebration will also include, as you can see in the slide, 3 regional symposia and culminate in the 2020 annual meeting here next year. All these 4 events will examine our impact on science and medicine in the past 50 years and where we see the biggest promise for advance in the next 50 years. We will also commission a book on our history of our organization and the major contribution we made in health. And the second publication will be an illustrated coffee table book focusing on the most significant breakthroughs since our founding in 1970 and trace how our institution contributed to them. No doubt we have much to do, but because of you, I'm more optimistic than ever about our future. Your commitment and dedication to NAM and to improving the health and well-being of people everywhere inspires me and my staff every day. Our members will always have and always will be the life force of National Academy of Medicine. So in closing, I'd like to share with you one quote among many, many similar quotes from our members responding to a survey we did recently for our 50th anniversary, in which we asked, what does it mean to be an NAM member? And this individual, a class of 2004, says, and I quote, "The National Academy of Medicine has saved lives, is our nation's beacon for science-driven medicine and compassionate care. Its North Star continues to be improving the health of our nation above all else. I'm proud to be a member." Well, thank you. We're very proud and very grateful for your comment. We should all be incredibly proud of all we have accomplished together. And I'm really honored to serve such a talented, committed, and dedicated members and staff, and I'm really excited to see what we'll do in years ahead. I have no doubt that together we will shape a better future in health and medicine for the nation and the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.